Carl placed a wet stick in the sand and drew his magic city. Jane Fisher watched in amazement as the city of his dreams came into being. She thought at the time, in the honeymoon of their marriage, with the dark magnetism so much a part of his being, Carl Graham Fisher, as she saw it, that he could move mountains. Within 15 years, their new city was born, and the world would soon see, as clearly as the boy who dropped out of school due to a severe astigmatism, that Carl Graham Fisher's vision was unparalleled at the time. We find in hindsight that he had 20/20 vision in predicting the convergence of land, sea, and sporting lifestyle that was unparalleled in supplying health and vitality. As his Miami Beach would become the playground of the world, it is recalled now that from the first line in the sand that represented what he would call Lincoln Road. From there sprang a paradise and the unparalleled Garden City.
So what you had was Carl deciding, though, that he was going to build the first ocean-to-bay street, and that street was given the name Lincoln Road.
The interesting thing for me is now living in Miami, we see mangroves, and they're twiggy little trees that come up out of the ground. But when you see the photographs of the trees that were taken down to make Lincoln Road, it was a primordial forest. It had not been harvested since time immemorial. And I can only imagine the level of labor that went into falling those trees and tearing their roots out and then filling it to make it Lincoln Road.
Carl Fisher placed his house on the ocean, his real estate office a block up the street, the community church a few more blocks up the concourse, all within walking distance or a short car drive up the street.
The property that we own here at the Ritz-Carlton was the site of the first residential area in the city. Carl Fisher had his home here. Jay Sieberling, his cohort, had a home here.
I can remember Lincoln Road coming with my grandmother, and we did not dress in bikinis and we didn't dress in shorts. We wore very fancy party luncheon dresses, and I wore little white gloves and a hat.
By 1959, with the opening of the major resort hotels, the Fontainebleau and the Eden Rock, both by Morris Lapidus, Lincoln Road Shopping Center fell into decline. The shop owners on Lincoln Road got together and asked Mr. Lapidus if he'd be willing to help them find a solution so that they could garner some of the business for themselves.
Morris Lapidus suggested closing off the street from traffic and turning the road into a pedestrian mall, and he had something else in mind.
The committee asked me what my thoughts were, and I told them that I would like to make the street a garden with trees and plants and shrubs, a street with pools and fountains and waterfalls.
Lincoln Road, to me, connotes almost something eternal. Things happen and change at a rapid pace all over Miami Beach over the years, over the decades. Lincoln Road rises, Lincoln Road falls, but it always manages to resurrect itself and come back.
My grandfather and my father, who was only, I think, 25 years old, acquired the Dilito in 1971. So that's more than 50 years ago, 51 years ago. That's this legacy and this historic asset has been in the family.
It was meant to be the spinal cord that connects the city, that provides the nerve and the energy juice and the heartbeat of the city itself. There's really nothing else like Lincoln Road in all of Miami Beach, and I don't think there ever will be. It stands as something unique and a testimony to the vision of people like Carl Fisher and others who made it what it is today. Morris Lapidus made it what it is today. Lincoln Road itself it's just a beautiful legacy that they have left for us, for modern developers, for city planners to work with.
It doesn't link. If they want to go to the Lincoln Road Mall, they've got to cross that 2-block stretch of sort of the middle of New York City. It's very busy, it's very congested.
To further extend that spine and connect it all the way to the ocean. Similar, with Carl Fisher, when I think of Carl Fisher's vision, it was interesting because he had a beautiful pier, a long pier at the end of the Lincoln Road. So there's always been sort of an unwritten desire to have the whole thing connected, but we haven't seen that built yet.
How many communities have the ability to have 7 miles of pedestrian walkways along the most iconic beaches? The Art Deco Historic District be within the Architectural District as well. The full connectivity of Miami Beach gets completed at Lincoln Road from the bay to the ocean. And what could be more iconic than to complete the vision of fully reimagining, re-energizing, and fully pedestrianizing? We're cleaning it up, but we allowed the creativity of a new generation to flourish. And that's what we want to happen, not to stay stagnant in one period of time. And that's what we want here, a clean and safe and beautiful space for Miami Beach residents and our visitors to enjoy.
How it affects your interior well-being, but when you're around something that is aesthetically well-devised, it changes you. And it doesn't have to be a building. Sometimes it's something as beautiful as just nature.
As owners of the Delito Ritz-Carlton, we're very aware that we are the historical anchor of Lincoln Road. The location and the hotel itself embody the history of so many founders who shaped the heart and spine of Miami Beach: Fisher, Lapidus, Polovetsky, and Sirkin. I speak for all 3 of our ownership families when I say that our singular focus is to see a unified Lincoln Road from bay to sea, a revitalization of the blocks between Washington and Collins Avenues, not only as an aesthetic connection of the Lincoln Road and Beach Walk greenbelts, but as a functional extension of the vigorous commercial uses the rest of the mall enjoys. It's within our grasp to finally complete the legacy of our founders. We can revitalize Lincoln Road and the heart of our city, rebuild a community of permanent residents, and reinvigorate our economy. It's the common vision of a public-private partnership that will get this done, and we are optimistic that that time has come.
Carl Fisher asked John Collins to place 2 flowering trees for every avocado he planted. He wanted to create something of beauty. Today, seeing his city filled with cars turn into the walkable city filled with gardens would complete that dream, that paradise that he had promised his wife. To do that, we need community. And what makes a community? We do.